Hi friends, and welcome back to another video. I do apologize that it has been such a long time since I have filmed a video, but today I figured I would jump right back in and film a chaotic as fuck reviews version of my review for the Kindle Colorsoft. So if you want to kind of hear my thoughts and just a little bit of tech specs as far as the Kindle Colorsoft goes, then go ahead and continue watching. Okay, so we have the Kindle Colorsoft that retails on Amazon for $280. I will go ahead and put a picture right here of what it looks like. It only comes in one color, the black, and this is what it looks like outside of the box. So this is just a standard cover in color on the Kindle Colorsoft. This is in the standard color mode. I'll go ahead and show the vivid color mode later, but again, it is just your standard black Kindle, kind of similar to the Kindle Paperwhite. It is on the bigger 7-inch display. I'm going to go ahead and read off the specs for you guys now. It says, read in color, the new 7-inch Colorsoft display is high contrast and easy on the eyes with paper-like color that brings covers and content to life. Color your pages. You can highlight your favorite scenes in yellow, orange, blue, and pink. Marathon reading, a single charge via USB-C lasts up to 8 weeks, or power up with the wireless charging dock, which is sold separately. You can adapt to your surroundings. The glare-free display and auto-adjusting front light lets you read in the brightest sunlight or late into the night. It is waterproof and worry-free. Take your stories by the pool, in the bath, or anywhere in between. There's a massive selection. Instantly access over 15 million titles in the Kindle store. A brand new experience. The Kindle Colorsoft display is optimized for reading in color and is different from the Kindle Paperwhite display, which is optimized for black and white reading. And you can try the page color feature to invert the black text and white background of pages inside books. While different than dark mode, it enables comfortable reading while still displaying colorful images and colors. The product dimensions are 6.96 by 5.02 by 0.31 inches. This weighs about 7.7 ounces. And the Colorsoft has a 300 ppi black and white and 150 ppi color optimized font technology, 16 level grayscale, and then due to the addition of a color filter layer that creates the easy on the eyes color reading experience, you may notice that the texture or brightness of the Kindle Colorsoft display looks different than the Kindle Paperwhite display. So as far as the displays goes, yes, they're going to look very different, and I say that because the Kindle Paperwhite is very, very crisp. The new version anyway, which it's the same 7-inch display, they're the same size. But you can see that even just with the cover as well as the Kindle Paperwhite, you can just tell that the black and white is a crisper experience. Again, color e-ink has not come very far, and so it still has to be developed into better technology. We've kind of honed in on black and white e-ink to make it as crisp as possible. So that's why you find with the Paperwhite, you're going to get a crisper experience as far as reading and covers as well, which I will show you covers and covers now. Which again, black and white cover versus the, black and white cover versus the color cover. And you can just see that this one is far crisper than the Colorsoft Kindle anyway. But again, just keep in mind that when you're looking into color e-ink displays, the technology is not well developed yet. It has potential to develop further in the future, but we are just not there yet as far as color e-ink. So do with that information what you will. Know that you're not going to get a crispy display with color as you would with black and white. Okay. So getting into specifically features of the Colorsoft, I just kind of wanted to show you guys what pages of a graphic novel look like on the Kindle Colorsoft. I also have the Kobo Libra color, which I'll go into some comparisons later about that. The Kindle Colorsoft, when you're reading graphic novels on it, just know that the pages are going to be different than reading like a graphic novel on paper or even reading like a webtoon on your phone. They don't show the full pages like you would see with like a webtoon where it's very continuous. It's very choppy reading a graphic novel on an e-ink display. So this is kind of what the color display shows with like a graphic novel. This is Heartstopper. It's very just blue, black, and white. I don't have any other really colorful graphic novels to show you guys, but that is just what the color display looks like on black, or not on black and white, with the Heartstopper graphic novel. And this is in the standard color mode, so I will go ahead and show it to you guys in the vivid color mode. or I'm sorry, that was Vivid. I'm going to show it to you guys in the standard color mode now. And here's what the pages look like standard over Vivid. I don't really notice a change in standard versus Vivid when you're actively reading a graphic novel. I find that with the covers is where you tend to see the difference. So we'll go back to the cover so that way I can show you guys what the covers look like. Okay, so this is what the Heartstopper novel cover looks like in the standard color mode, and I'll go ahead and switch it to the Vivid, so that way you guys can see the difference. And here is the Heartstopper cover in the Vivid color mode. I usually leave my colorsoft in Vivid because I don't find that it affects the battery life any more or less than the standard color mode, and I love a very colorful experience, so I just find that I use that more often than not. But let's jump into a regular book so I can show you guys what the highlights look like. I'm just going to open a random book here and just flip to a random page. Okay, so I realized as I was filming yesterday that not a lot of the footage that I had turned out close enough so that way you guys could kind of see what the Kindle Colorsoft looks like in all of its features. This is what a cover looks like when it's just in sleep mode and doing its thing after you've paused reading or you haven't touched the Kindle for a while. So this is what the color looks like while it is on that sleep mode, and you can just easily click the power on button. And this is what a cover looks like in the Vivid color mode. And we'll go ahead and change it to standard, which everything is super easy. They can change the color modes, or they made it easy so you could change the color modes within the quick menu. So you're just going to go to color style, click Vivid, and then you could change it to standard. So let's see what a cover looks like in standard. Again, not too much of a difference. I just personally prefer Vivid because I like the extra pop of color. So I'm going to go ahead and change that back. And then one thing too that you can do in the quick menu is you can also adjust the warmth, which that's the warmth all the way up. I usually like to read with my warmth on about 10 or 15, so we'll leave it at 12. That's usually what I read in with the brightness all the way up. Sometimes I will turn the brightness down as well too, so we'll go ahead and drop the warmth, turn the brightness all the way down, and again, it just looks like it does when it's in sleep mode with the brightness all the way down, which we'll go ahead and turn that up for the rest of this little demonstration per se. And then again too, you can set your Kindle to where it has auto brightness so that way you can change it, or it automatically changes based on the conditions that the Kindle senses that you're in. I don't personally use it. I like my brightness all the way up. That's probably why I have an issue with eye strain. But again, I prefer it this way. And so again, this is just what the color looks like. It's a little bit more pop of color than you would with the standard mode. So let's go ahead and kind of look at what it looks like with just your basic text. It looks exactly like the Kindle Paperwhite. Now, I don't know if you guys can see it per se. I'll try to drop the Kindle just a little bit, but there is still some of that yellow banding at the bottom that I talked about very briefly in the video. It's not anything like, oh my God, it distracts my reading type of thing, but I do notice it. That is also why I read with the warmth up. Or again, to circumvent that, you can change into dark mode and that immediately goes away. So just things to think about again when you're going to purchase this device. There is the yellow banding. And then too, if color's not important to you, then again, I don't think it's worth it. But I also want to show you guys what the highlights look like as well too. So let's get to an actual chapter here. Seems like there's a bit of a prologue area here. So again, same thing with the Paperwhite. You just take your hand, oh, or not, you take your hand, drag it, and it'll automatically highlight in whatever color you highlighted in last. But easy peasy, you can just change it. You can change it to pink, blue, or orange. And again, just what the front of the Kindle looks like in your main menu. This is what all your colors are going to look like. Again, this is the vivid color mode. And then your home menu, once it loads up, will just look the same as well too. Again, you're just adding that color. I just wanted to show you guys what it kind of looked like up closer so you guys got a better look at it. So now back to the rest of the video. So highlighting on the Kindle Colorsoft works exactly the same as it would on the Kindle Paperwhite. You're just going to drag your finger down the page, except now it's going to give you the same menu, but with a color option. So you'll just click on this and you want to change it, you can. You have the choice of yellow, pink, blue, or orange. Usually when I'm annotating a book on my Kindle Colorsoft, I use it kind of like tabs per se. So yellow could mean this made me laugh, pink could mean this is the female main character's perspective that I loved, blue is the male main character's perspective that I loved, and orange is any pivotal information that I think is going to be, you know, useful down the line. So we'll change this one to like orange so you guys can see what orange looks like, and you can change them. And you can always go back and change them to different colors. So that's blue. And here's pink. And then we'll go right back to the yellow. And again, virtually everything works the same on the Kindle Colorsoft as it does with the Paperwhite. That's why I stress, unless you're really like a huge graphic novel reader or a heavy annotator and you want your things to be annotated in color, not to jump the gun as far as like my final thoughts on this, but I don't think that the Kindle Colorsoft is worth the extra, it's like worth shelling out the extra money per se, because you're jumping from a price point of $180 for the Kindle Paperwhite. You can get that even less if you find it on a deal like Black Friday, Prime Day, or if you trade in your other Kindle devices, you can get 20% off plus another, you know, credit for whatever your Kindle device is worth. So you can get that down to, I think I got my Raspberry Kindle Paperwhite, which was the device I showed you guys just recently. I got this for like only $100 because I had several trade-in credits. I traded in a bunch of old Amazon devices that we don't use anymore, like our Echo Dots and stuff like that, as well as my old Kindle Paperwhite, which was running honestly quite horribly. And I was able to get this for a little over $100. So I was able to cut that price by a lot. And mind you, the Kindle Colorsoft, like I said earlier, it retails for $280. So between the two, that is a huge price hike. Again, like I've said before in other videos, a lot of my really special e-readers, like my Books Palma and my Kindle Colorsoft, as well as my Kobo Libra, they were gifts from family members, from my husband. Probably mostly all of them came from my husband, if I'm being quite honest. But the only reason I have these is because they were gifts. They were not a necessity. I'm usually the type of person that likes to save my big asks for birthdays and anniversaries and, you know, holidays like Christmas, Valentine's Day, things like that. So this was a huge ask for me as far as our anniversary this year. We've been married for 5 years when I got this, so this was like my 5th year wedding anniversary gift. As well as the Kobo Libra color was my other wedding anniversary gift for our 5 years because we technically have 2 wedding anniversaries. Anyways, getting off track. But again, I don't personally think that if you have any issues with this device and you're like, well, whatever, I'm just going to upgrade, sure, then go ahead, upgrade to this one. But if you're like, I'm really loving this device and I don't feel like I need color, even if you have an older Paperwhite, just upgrade to the Paperwhite. The Paperwhite is a bit of a crisper experience. I personally find myself when I'm wanting to just read and I don't really care about annotating a book, I even just find that the Kindle Paperwhite is faster. So like, for example, with my Kindle Paperwhite, you can see the page turns are very fast. They're very quick. Easy peasy. Sometimes I find that the Kindle Colorsoft does take a little bit longer. Again, it's not like, oh my God, it makes the reading experience horrible. But it does take just, and sometimes it doesn't always register my touch. I can't even tell if that's skipping pages, but yeah, it's, again, nothing wrong with it. It's just when you're thinking of a $80 difference, sometimes even a $200 difference. Like I said, if you can trade in devices and get credit and find it on a deal, then I don't personally think it's worth the upgrade. But with that being said, going into some of the cons of this device that I've noticed so far, we're going to start with the cons and then we'll move to the pros. I know when this first came out, a lot of people were concerned about the yellow banding at the bottom. And when I bought this, when my husband bought it, I explained to him, hey, this is a common issue that a lot of people are running into with new iterations. They're finding that it's lesser than, but that yellow banding is still there. The yellow banding is still prominent on this device. I don't know if you guys can see it so much. I think because I've used it, maybe the yellow bandings go away, or maybe they came out with an update for it. But honestly, when I'm reading on my Kindle Colorsoft, I don't notice it very much, because when I do read, I do keep the warmth up because I have very sensitive eyes. So a lot of times when I'm reading on a warmth level of like 10 to 20, or 10 to 15, I mean, just because I like reading that way. It's different for everybody. Another way that you can circumvent that is you can read on dark mode, and it gets rid of the yellow banding completely because you're reading a black page with white writing. So there's no use for the yellow banding for that. So if you, again, have a Kindle Colorsoft or you're interested and you're worried about the yellow banding, mine wasn't horrible. It was still there, but it was not horrible. You can get rid of that by reading in dark mode, as well as just turning up the warmth as well too. I do think that they have been releasing updates as far as like getting it to not be so bad. But yes, the yellow banding is still technically there. So it's obvious because I just said it in the last clip, but another con that I have about this device is the value. I don't think there's enough features on this device besides the color that justify it being the price that it is, especially when you put it up against the Kobo Libra color. I do think that with the Kobo Libra color, you have the stylus, you have the page turning button, and I know that the Amazon besties who officially loved the Kindle Paperwhite and they wanted and were saying, hey, bring back the page turning button to the Kindle Oasis, maybe add an annotatable feature with like a stylus, kind of similar to the Kobo Libra color. And Amazon just came out with a smack dab version of the Paperwhite, just adding color. That was frustrating for a lot of people. And there is a huge price difference between these two as well. I think this one is a little under $200. And then again, this one is that $280 price tag, which we can go back into Heartstopper, and I can show you what the two Kindles or what the two e-readers look like together, so that way you can kind of see. One thing I will say is if you're comparing the two together, I love my Kobo Libra color. I really do. I don't personally think it's as bright as the Kindle Colorsoft, but it's not enough where, again, if you're looking for a color e-reader and, you know, you have options like the Books color, I think it's the Books Go color, and then you have the Kobo Libra color as well as the Kindle Colorsoft, and then there's like Big Me tablets and other tablets that you can choose from. I think that the Kobo Libra color is not the strongest in the color e-ink family, but these are what the tablets, or the e-readers, excuse me, look like together as far as their color. Remember, the Kobo Libra color on this side does not have any other color mode except the one that it comes preloaded with. This one has the standard and the vivid. So again, you can see that with the vivid, it's currently in vivid. It does have more vivid colors. But when you compare the two together and you're thinking, hey, when I can save $80 and I can get this, it's got the page turning buttons, it's a little bit of a bigger display. Mind you, the display itself, like the actual screen sizes, are the same. They are both a 7-inch display. But I just think that the Kobo Libra color has so many more add-ons that Kobo, and one thing that I found with Kobo in general is they are very customer friendly, and they are all about tailoring their products to the customer's experience, and a good experience at that. So this one has annotating capabilities, which means that it has a stylus that it comes, not that it comes with. You can buy a separate stylus. They also have third-party styluses that you can buy that aren't as expensive as the Kobo Libra color stylus. That works just as well with this one. That's what I have. I think I have the MetaPen version 3. It was like $40 compared to the Kobo Libra color pen, which is $270. But you can write directly on the screen with the stylus and annotate directly on the page, which again is not something that even the Kindle Scribe offers at this point. Like, I know you can write directly on the page, but the Kindle Scribe will like push it off to the side eventually. With the Kindle Colorsoft, you don't have any annotative capabilities outside of the colored highlighting. So just a few things to keep in mind. If you're a heavy annotator, maybe lean towards like the Kobo Libra color, so that way you can get a stylus, you can write directly on the page, and it's in your handwriting. It doesn't transfer your handwriting to like text or anything like that. Annotators, Kobo Libra. If you just want to read graphic novels, no annotating, you just want to highlight in color, Kindle Colorsoft is a good one. But again, just with the price, I don't think that it comes with enough features in order for it to be justifiable for the $280. One of the few things that I love about my Kindle Colorsoft is that I love the vivid color display. I just love that it adds that extra pop of color. I don't know why, but it makes the reading experience more enjoyable for me when I'm annotating and highlighting. And even the graphic novel experience as well. Just having that extra pop of color really helps kind of bring out the colors on the page within a graphic novel. So I prefer usually when I'm just wanting to read and just highlight, not really necessarily make notes in a book, I prefer leaning towards my Kindle Colorsoft because I do like that extra pop of color. Another thing that I really love about the Kindle Colorsoft is, again, you're kind of having the Paperwhite display or the Paperwhite size with just the color e-ink display. One thing that I find about my Kobo Libra Color is even with the page turning buttons, I find that this one gets a little bit heavier for me. It does have a bit of a heavier case on it. I do usually have a heavier case on the Kindle Colorsoft. But with like the pen and everything attached, it can get too heavy. And I've explained in previous videos, I do have dexterity issues in my hands. So I find that the Kindle Colorsoft is just really lightweight. And I prefer to honestly just like one-handed hold it. Also too, the reason I love this too is because I have one of the, you can kind of see it back there, this little like white thing right here. I have one of those little fluffy bowl things from the TikTok shop that has the MagSafe on the back. I love just being able to slap that on there and be able to read in my bed, which again, you can do that with the Kobo Libra Color. I just find that because of its odd shape with the tablet stand, it tends to kind of droop a little bit because of the heaviness, and it's a little bit more of an awkward shape than the Kindle Colorsoft. So I do find that with like pop sockets and using that Kindle stand, it is a little bit easier for me to be able to do that, which again, same thing with my Kindle Paperwhite. I also have MagSafe rings on this if I'm not really reading anything for color, and I just, usually this is the Kindle I travel with because I would rather lose the $100 Kindle than the $300 Kindle, if I'm being honest. But I just like, I don't know, I like being able to read with the MagSafe rings on the Kindle stand, and I do find that the Kindle Colorsoft is lighter than the Kobo Libra Color in that aspect, and so I have a more enjoyable reading experience with the Kindle Colorsoft using those stands rather than the Kobo Libra Color. Oftentimes, I find with the Kobo Libra Color, with the specific page turner that I have for my Kindle and my e-readers in general, it has the best fit on the Kindle Colorsoft. And so I find that I often lean towards that because, again, you're not having any extra buttons taken up the side or any extra lips that are causing the page turner to not clamp down on the e-reader properly, that I lean towards this a little bit more. I do apologize if my pros are not necessarily about the Kindle Colorsoft itself, but some of the accessories and how they fit. Because, again, I do just really feel like if this wasn't a gift, I would never ever spend $300 on this device. There's so many other devices out there at cheaper prices where you might compromise some things like the color quality, but you still get the same experience. So again, I absolutely love this device. I use it more often than any of my other color e-readers. Not my color e-readers, but any of my other e-readers, just because it's always the first one that I reach for. I often reach for the Kobo Libra Color if I'm finding that I want to annotate in a book, or like say I have like a fantasy book that I know I need to take notes on so that way I remember what happens and all of the big bad and all of the crazy stuff that happens. I usually reach for like my Kobo Libra Color. If I'm just reading like a single one-off romance book and like I don't want to read it on my Kindle Colorsoft, you'll find me reaching for my Kindle Paperwhite. But if it's something like, okay, I'm traveling, maybe I'll take my Books Palma instead. Honestly, the Books Palma is the device that I use the least, just because I find that when I'm wanting to read, because I have issues with like eye strain and stuff like that as well too, I find that reading on a smaller display kind of hurts my eyes a little bit. And I like that you can really, really adjust the fonts on the Kindle devices to make them big. So I usually just reach for like the Kindle Colorsoft or the Kindle Paperwhite first. But with that being said, those are kind of all of my thoughts on the Kindle Colorsoft. Again, I know this was chaotic. Everything that I do is chaotic. You guys should know this by now. But final thoughts, again, you don't need the latest and greatest device or the latest and greatest book or the latest and greatest bookshelf, whatever it might be, bookmark, accessory, camera, whatever. You don't need it to be able to, like I always say, sit at the cool kids table. What you have works perfectly fine. Continue to use it. There's no difference between these two devices, honestly. There's no difference between the Paperwhite and the Colorsoft outside of color and being able to double tap on the back that you can turn the page, but honestly, I don't even remember that 90% of the time, and I just swipe the page. And two, there's honestly, if we're being real, I think when you're talking device quality, the Paperwhite will beat the ColorSoft 10 times over. It's a crisper display. Again, I know that e-ink technology is not well developed right now, so that's just another thing you have to keep in mind. If color's not important to you and you just want a crisp, super fast, elite reading experience, Kindle Paperwhite all the way. If you want wireless charging, Kindle Paperwhite Signature. Again, I had the Kindle Paperwhite Signature, never wireless charge, so I just opted for the regular Kindle Paperwhite in the pink color this last time when I went to buy my own Kindle. But again, for a $280 price tag, I really, really want people who are interested in purchasing this device to like really sit and think about the things that they want in a device and the things that they need in a device, and not just spend the $280 because, oh my God, it's Amazon's latest and greatest and all the bookish influencers got it. And like the Kindle ColorSoft is this amazing device. I love it. Don't get me wrong. It was a gift and I love it and I use it all the time because I have access to it. But if I didn't have access to it, I wouldn't know any differently. And so there's no reason or justifiable reason for me to have gone out and spent $280 to buy it myself. Again, it was a gift, so like I'm gonna forever be grateful and use it. But I honestly, if I were to have to choose between the two devices and get rid of one, I would always choose my Kindle Paperwhite over the Kindle ColorSoft. Again, you're just getting that crispier display. It's way faster. Pages load easier. Honestly, if you're not an annotator and you don't really need to highlight in your books outside of like, oh, I just want to make a quick note of this and type in my note really quick, there's no difference between the Paperwhite and the ColorSoft, so you might as well just save the money and go for the Paperwhite. But with that being said, those are my final thoughts on the Kindle ColorSoft. If you're interested in buying a Kindle ColorSoft, go ahead and make sure to like the video and comment why you want a Kindle ColorSoft, or why you think the Kindle ColorSoft isn't worth it, or why you like the Paperwhite over the ColorSoft, or why you like your own e-reader over the ColorSoft, whatever it may be. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hopefully it won't be too long from now because I do need to get back to filming regularly. But as always, I love you guys. Have an amazing week, and thank you so much for watching. Bye.